I really do not get paid enough to do this. In fact, I do not get paid at all. So I was expecting hopefully a nice little conversation, and chaos ensued. Because I would not accept the assertion that the natural processes are not, that they have to be created by deity, because that's not a point to discuss on. That's just saying I'm right because I'm right. No, you have to show me how those natural processes are quite clearly created. For one thing, they're quite imbecilic if they're created, and I do explain that, or at least I attempted to over the yelling. But I just start yelling back in the end, but I hope you can see that's quite understandable in the situation. So yes, I'll also quickly just show you an image just now. As you can see from the top bar, which is my audio track 1 is my microphone, I did not do most of the talking. Audio track 2, however, you can see quite thick, quite long pieces where he was just having none of it. So really, when it's a one-way conversation, I am not going to get in discussion. Of course, he's trying to dance victory, but fuck him. I still have the original video and I still have the facts, so take care. Enjoy.
Yeah.
So,
give me 1 second, okay? I'm gonna put my headphones on so I can hear you better, okay?
Okay.
Okay, you can get. I hear you now.
Okay, can you hear me fine?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, basically, what were you saying in the video? You something about the burden of proof. I'm doing this off my phone, so I don't have a computer with me, so I can't really go back to see exactly what you were talking about. But you said something about how language basically changes because we're talking the word atheism doesn't apply as it applied before, and you said something about how you do not have a burden of proof or something like that. You go.
What was stated was the fact that the term atheos, which is Greek, came from a period where non-belief was a rarity, so therefore, it was not seen as the default position.
Well, even still, I don't, like you already know what I was talking about in my video. I don't think that atheism is the default position because it claims to atheism, even, what you're talking about right now, it still implies without theism. And so it's not really, the null hypothesis. It's sort of it's taking a position that basically I think what you're talking about is more so of agnosticism, something that doesn't
well, I suggest you actually look up your terms there, because you're thinking that agnosticism and atheism are conflicting terms when they're not. Agnosticism is just the lack of knowledge. Gnosticism is to have knowledge. Atheism is a lack of belief in God. Theism is theism is a belief in God even. So, the terms aren't conflicting. You lack knowledge of the existence of something, therefore you do not believe in something. That is the logical course of action. I do not have evidence for leprechauns, therefore I do not believe in leprechauns.
Well, see, yeah, right. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off. But right there, what you just talked about, now I agree with you. Gnosticism deals with knowledge, and agnosticism deals with not being able to assert knowledge either way. They don't assert knowledge either way, which is really the point. And agnostic, in my view, is actually the default position. But atheism is not asserting, is not doing that. Atheism is a position described as being without theism. And you talked about semantics. Well, when you call, there's more than one definition of atheism: the disbelief in a God, the belief that there is no God, the doctrine that there is no God, and the denial of the existence of God. I think when you use one definition and ignore the description that you're under, you're playing semantics to avoid that position that you're describing yourself as.
Actually, I'm aligning myself with the scientific and philosophical accuracy.
No, because you also mentioned because I don't want to forget what you're saying. You said something about leprechauns. Well, leprechauns is not comparable to this because this
is very comparable. In science, they do not make special pleading fallacies towards something. It should actually take even more evidence to prove God. Do you not understand? Extraordinary claims
I
require
understand. I understand.
extraordinary evidence.
No, that's sorry, that's a load of crap.
Oh,
That's
really? That is a load of
no,
crap.
no, extraordinary a claim just needs evidence, and I can justify my position under theism with the evidence, and I think that the evidence is only pointing towards that particular
You'd like
perception.
to discuss
But
this
you talking
evidence?
about if you not believing in leprechauns, that's nothing. You just don't believe in leprechauns. You rejecting theism. Theism is the belief of a creator behind the influence of the universe. You rejecting theism is rejecting this particular perception of reality. This is what you're talking
And
about, the null
that's
hypothesis.
rejecting leprechauns is rejecting the perception of reality that
No,
has leprechauns in them.
no, that is not comparable
That
to
is
what we're
comparable.
talking about.
Let's turn to the flying
Theism, the
spaghetti
belief in
monster.
a creator behind the universe. When you explain the reality, how you have to explain reality is basically
And Occam's razor comes into
according
this
to
one.
how you perceive things. So, are you looking at creative intent, or are you looking at unintended happenings, non-intended happenings? And you know, when you say, well, leprechauns doesn't have anything to do with this at all.
It very much
It doesn't.
does.
It doesn't.
Oh, it does. It has very much to do with it. And the fact is, I
And
can apply Occam's razor, which is a philosophical tool. I don't know if you watched the video that I linked down below mine, but you can actually use it to show why, just because, you know, prior to the existence of the universe in its current state, we cannot have knowledge of because we are bound by universal laws, does not then insert God. Occam's razor prevents this. This is a philosophical tool. It states
oh,
you cannot just assert stuff to shove it in.
so
Otherwise, I could just insert any other argument. I could shove magical fairy in the sky. I can shove flying spaghetti
no.
monster, Juju under the mountain,
Well,
created
first,
the universe, leprechauns created the universe, the
what you're talking about
big
is
fart.
philosophical interpretation. What you're talking about is philosophical interpretations. What the video that we were talking about, what your video is about and my video is about theism. Whether or not a creator was behind the universe. What you're talking about is not comparable. You're inserting these things. Now, you talked about Occam's razor, too. Do you know what Occam's razor is?
Yep.
The option with the description with the fewest amount of assumptions should be chosen. That's what it is.
Yep.
So if well,
Assumption,
you're gonna have
God
to.
exists. Assumption is personality. Assumption, he is all
No, no,
powerful
no, no,
enough to do it.
no, no, no.
Yes,
God
yes, yes.
exists
If you actually
because we
look
are.
at
No, 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 no.
philosophy, I am
You're,
sorry, I
you're,
am not going to let you bastardize philosophy in
no, no, no,
this.
no, no. Listen to me. Listen to me. You got to chill out for a second. You got to listen to what I'm trying to tell you. Atheism, or what a God is the belief in a creator. So, are we assuming that there is a creator when we observe the creative attributes of other minds? We are creative beings. We know the creative attributes of other minds, and we see these exact attributes in nature. Do we assume that, or
We
are
don't
we
see those.
going by what
We don't see any of those in nature.
Yes, we
You've
do.
asserted there without any evidence that we see these things in nature. We do not.
Okay, well, how about I explain it then? All
Okay?
right, you're a human being. All right, listen to me. You're a human being. I'm a human being. We objectively know the creative attributes of other minds because we've been exposed to them since our birth. What am I talking about? Every time we see multiple components working together in a strategic, coordinated fashion in order to give an overall function, we know where this attribute comes from. It
It could
only
be a natural
and
system.
it is no. It
Yes,
is
I'm
only
sorry.
yeah, in a natural system, of course. I'm going to get to that
Based
right.
on the physics, that does not assert
Listen,
God.
listen. Hold on a
I'm
second. Hold
sorry,
on a
it's a
second.
poor argument.
Such
I've
as
heard
what
this
we're talking
100
about in
times.
nature also. What you're talking about in nature. Look at the cell. You got multiple components working inside of the cell in a strategic coordinated fashion. You got the different.
Hello? You just cut out there. Hello?
Hello?
You cut out there for a second. At the cell.
G protein is important to that. You got DNA, 4-character code, guanine, thymine, cytosine, and adenine. These characters they interact with the different biochemical compounds in their cell during the folding sequences. The point is this. Every single time that we see multiple components working together in a strategic coordinated fashion, like in laptops and any piece of technology that we come across, that is only known and is objectively known on a case-to-case basis to come from creative, intelligent thinking minds. Now, what are we looking at
Right,
in
okay, you
nature?
want to talk about intelligent creating minds. What about when the cell replicates?
Please let me finish my
Hey.
case. Please let me finish my case. Every time when we're looking inside of the cell, we're looking at multiple components working together in a strategic, coordinated fashion. That is exactly that knowledge. We have knowledge that what can cause that to happen. So you saying, well, I can just insert that. You can't insert fairies and all that other crap, if you want to say that they were created, but that would be
No, they're a
philosophical
comparison.
interpretations. But saying a creator in general, is not an assumption.
Yes, it is,
It's an
because there is
inference.
no evidence for a creator in these things.
Yes,
For
the creative
example,
attributes
take
of
your
nature.
cell. Take your cell, for example, right? What happens when the cell malfunctions, huh? What happens then? Do you know the cell replicates in mitosis? Well, sometimes things go wrong, the bases turn off,
Yes.
and what you have is full-blown cancer. What intelligent
Yeah,
fucktard
well, cancer.
creates a design that
Cancer.
breaks like that? What
Well, when
fucktard does that?
cancer is a little. Well, first of all, I'll answer that right now. But what you just said, you just kind of avoided what I was talking about the strategic components. Either way, that is happening inside of the cell.
Strategic
But talking about
components
what you're talking
were
about cancer,
started
what
off
you're talking about
simple.
cancer.
They
Hold
built
on.
up in
Hold
a
on. Hold on.
natural system.
Hold
We
on.
see this occurring
In the
throughout
natural
nature.
system. Okay, well,
And this does not then state God. That does
well, you
not.
just inserted your own position. First of all, I don't want to leave that alone. Every single
You
point
must
that you hit
have the
on,
link.
I want to
How
keep it.
these
I want to hit on
natural
every single point
processes
that you hit on.
building
You
up
talked about
equals
what's
God.
going on inside the cell. What you're talking about, what's going on inside of the cell, is that has to do with creation's faults. All of the food that we eat, the stuff that we ingest into our body, the put stuff that we put inside of us, is what causes these malfunctions to happen
Not
inside of the cell.
always.
That's what, for the most part,
It
that's
can
what ends
also
up
be a
happening.
genetic factor, which is not your problem
Can
at
be a
all.
genetic
So
factor
which
due
is
to
just your
chemical
creator's fault.
or
Therefore, the
mutations.
system is
No.
fucked. It's also like the eye. The eye is a terrible design. The blood vessels are in front of your eye.
No.
Why? It
That's because
messes up your vision.
that's because
If
we
you
are
were a
not in the water.
designer,
That's the
you could put
reason
them
why
at
we're
the
not in the
back
water.
of the
And
eye,
you're
and
not
they
hitting
would
on
be
what I hit
far
on before.
superior.
You're not hitting on what I hit on before. You're completely avoiding it. The
No,
fact
I'm
is, the
showing
cell is made out of
imbecilic
multiple
design.
components. Everything goes wrong in this world. Cars go wrong. It doesn't mean that they weren't designed. Every single thing
But they
breaks
weren't
down.
designed by an all-powerful,
They
all-knowing
were
creator
designed. That's the
either.
point. We have a
These are
standard to look
natural
at
systems. They lack
what is designed.
morality, they lack intelligence. They have built up from simple functions working in conjunction to one another, and gradually they become more advanced. That
The cell?
is the natural
Prove it. Prove abiogenesis to me then. You just made an assertion. You're going to have to back that
Let's have a
up.
look at the fact of this. We can use basic chemicals. We can make them into a protocell which will hunt, which will seek out food. It will move. It will absorb the food. It will use it to respirate, and then it will also replicate. That has been done.
No.
No.
You need to listen to what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about things inside of nature, for example, what we're doing in NASA with what we're trying to develop cells there. That's being done by man deliberately. I'm talking about
But
things
these
coming
are basic
about from
chemicals
carbon.
that existed at the time and are quite capable.
Okay.
Take the surface area of the Earth in nanometers and the cubic nanocentimeters. Take the cubic nanometers of the oceans at the time. Give that every nanosecond is a possibility of a new protocell.
I know.
Go over several billion
that
years,
is what the
and you
methodological
have
idea asserts, but you got to prove that. Prove that that was the case.
We
prove
have.
that
We
was
have
the
replicated
case.
those conditions, and we have created protocells with basic chemicals. We have shown life from non-life is possible.
No, you have not shown that not life or non-life is possible. The Miller experiment, all of these things that you're talking about, all of these.
The Miller experiment.
I'm going on about the Miller experiment. I'm going on about ribonucleotides being formed. I'm talking about polymers. I'm talking about the exact same thing that you're talking about.
Created protocells.
Biological material being formed. Listen to me. Biological material being formed under presupposed environments as not proof for life to be developed inside of those environments. Prove that those situations, those circumstances were the case. Prove that this biological material can come together and develop life, a self-replicating life that can survive with the necessary food involved. Prove all of these things. You're telling me, well, if you have this scenario and this, yeah, of course, if you have that scenario and this and this and this and this and this, but you don't know if any of those things are true.
In those conditions,
what you just said are assumptions. Occam's razor, dealing with the fewest amount of assumptions, should be chosen. My case, what I'm talking about, it is objectively known, already known to what can cause these attributes can come about. Yours is built on assumptions. You're assuming all of these things are
built on scientific
and you're projecting them as if they're fact.
That's what it's
projecting them as if they're fact. I mean, the way you speak, you don't even realize that you have to presuppose these things.
You don't even realize what the null hypothesis is. You don't even realize how science works. So don't you dare come talking to me like that.
Judging by what you're saying, I think I know a little bit more than you. That's just the truth. I've been listening to you talk, and I watched your video, and you're
Okay,
just an
man. Well, I'm done. So take care.